In our last session, we were talking about this hero image, our introductory content. We scroll down, we have a welcome statement, welcome to Golden Gorilla Bakery, and then we have 3 introductory boxes here. As we scroll down the page, there's some more content that we can either keep or delete. And then before we finish this homepage, we want to make sure that we round out this footer down here. A lot of times people say footer information doesn't matter, but we go ahead and fill it out because oftentimes it's great for adding SEO information in the footer, as well as address and contact information. So let's get started. So as I'm looking here at the page, I'm gonna go ahead and click up here where it says Edit Page. So right here, we have our first box that has our hero image in it. This is our second box with the welcome. Our boxes are 3 boxes here. And so this says Intro Featured Products. I like to make sure that I go ahead and change out these titles in these boxes. So later, if these are ever closed and collapsed, I can easily get to whatever I need to get to. As I continue to scroll down, there's these intro quick options too. I'm gonna leave that there. There's these featured products, and that's part of the WooCommerce products that we'll add in later. But for this part, I'm just gonna delete that. The baking process, this is great if you have like a 1, 2, 3 step-by-step guide, and that's what they've kind of done if they've broken down and put some really great big visuals. But we're not gonna do that right now. We're just gonna focus on creating a quick, simple, clean site without a whole bunch of content right now. There's also a box here that has the locations in it. We might not even have a standalone store. A lot of sites and businesses are moving just to online selling, so we're gonna go ahead and delete that as well. What I do like is the social networks. I believe Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all those are great for driving users and customers to your site. So we'll leave that. And then there's a call to action. That's what the CTA means. So I'm gonna go ahead and spell that out. Call to action. And on your site, you wanna make sure that you put in multiple call to actions. As you're scrolling down the page, you want to give people a place to click and to go, especially if they've decided, hey, I want this product now. And so you're kind of telling them a little bit about your story, you're engaging with them, you're sharing your content, you're sharing your product, and then they're like, I'm ready to buy. So you don't want to make it difficult for them to find those buttons. You just have order now, buy now throughout the site. I'm gonna click update. Remember, once you delete these boxes, it doesn't mean that they're gone, and not until you click update. So now that we've updated, I always like to view the page. I'm the type of person that I work on the fly and I look at it, I make sure that it's looking good. I'm scrolling down, still has a good flow. I've got these images. This is my Instagram box right here. There's still a few things that we need to change, but things are looking good. Now, right now, what's driving me the most crazy about this is all this looks pretty good. I've got a nice looking site coming along here. I still need to change out, this is my sticky header, the colors and the size of this right here needs to be changed. But as I scroll down, excuse me, I see that this footer does not look good at all. And I don't like that this bakery is still right here, and all this stuff right here says Aveda theme by Theme Fusion. I want to change that out. I don't mind giving them credit, but that's totally up to you. If you want to leave that there and give them credit for the theme, great. You don't have to though. So I'm gonna go in here to Aveda and then theme options. And then I'm gonna scroll down right here and I'm going to go to footer. And when I go to footer content, I can scroll down here and it's gonna have all this information. So this information is oftentimes in partial HTML, and it can be a pain to type in here, but it's a pain, but you could just go in, modify it slowly, because if you try to select it, it can just be a hassle. So we'll just take our time. It says powered by WordPress. I'm just gonna delete that whole area right there. I don't really need it to say all rights reserved. But I do like to put in here, the site was designed by my site. So Stature Design is my main website. I need to spell it correctly. And then I change out the URL right here. staturedesign.com. Now, when you're creating websites, if you're just creating this for you, you don't have to put a link down here. You know, you're not gonna necessarily need a link to yourself. But if you wanted to put something down there like powered by Bulletproof Coffee or something funny, or if you wanted to link them to something else that you liked, I'm more than happy to. You can get creative at your site. If you're doing a site for a customer, then of course you want to point them back to you. So this says a Aveda theme by, right now it says Stature Design. So I'm just going to put in here site design by. And so now when I click Save Changes, it's going to have site design by Stature Design. The great thing about doing that is if you have multiple sites out there, then it will actually create links that are going to send traffic back to your site. Especially if you've designed a really great site. People are like, well, who designed this? And they'll scroll to the bottom. So we've updated that, but that is just a very small piece, and it is in the copyright section of the site. So in Aveda Themes, there's a footer section, and the footer section is going to show up on every single page, unless you tell it not to. But for this purpose, we're going to say that it's going to show up on every single page. And the same thing with the copyright, it's going to be a smaller section below, and those can actually be different colors. So we're going to work on that styling right now. Right now, the number of footer columns, it says 2. I normally like to change that to either 3 or 4. If you do 4, then you need to fill in obviously 4 columns of content. And so we're going to do that. And then it says right here, center footer widgets content. I'm going to leave that off. I don't want my content to be centered. I'm just going to have it to be left justified. You can actually put a footer background image, which is really cool if you wanted to have like a, you know, a sweet image that's back there behind that content. But I usually just put a color, keep it simple. So the footer styling, here's some padding options. So you're gonna have a left and right padding, top and bottom, and you can change that. I normally just leave the defaults. But this footer background color right now is white, and I definitely don't want it to be white, and I'm gonna use this darker color that we've been using, just a dark gray. And once again, that's just 6/2s. And then this footer border size, I'm gonna leave it alone for now. The same thing with this border color. Just gonna make it this dark gray. And as I scroll down, there's a copyright background color, and I normally make it just a slightly different shade darker so that you can tell that there's a difference between the two. You don't necessarily have to, but I feel like it looks a little better. So I might just put in 1s. That looks like there's too many 1s there. That's better. And I might even just make that completely black. This copyright border color, I'm gonna make it this gold color that we were using earlier. And I've closed down Photoshop, so it'll take a minute for that to reopen. While that's reopening, I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna change out the footer's typography. And right now the font color is this weird purple color. I'm gonna make it white. And then the footer font color, this is the footer headings. I'll probably end up changing those to gold as well. But the footer font color, I'm gonna make white. And the link color, I'll make the gold color as well. So my gold color is here, I believe, but since I'm not certain, that looks a little bit more yellow, I'm gonna open up my Gorilla logo and I'm gonna sample that color, make sure that I got the right color gold. And see this color is here. What I should have done earlier is I should have selected that color, clicked OK, opened up my Evernote, and then copied that in here into my Evernote. So as I scroll down here, I like to put in Golden Gorilla Gold. And then I'll just do like hashtag, and that's my hex color for that gold. That way I can always go back and find it and I don't have to keep opening Photoshop and sampling that color. So here I am. My footer link color is going to be gold. The font color is going to be white. And the heading color is going to be gold. Now, this font family for the headers color, for the headers typography, I want to be Oswald as well. That's the font that I've been using. And the weight, I'm gonna make it normal, so it's a little bit heavier. Footer link hover color, I'll just have it do like a lighter yellow color there. Copyright text color is white. Copyright link color, I'll make it this gold color as well. And the link hover color. So another great thing about this theme is that you can change this little selection of colors. We haven't gotten there yet, but once you've picked out your theme colors, your entire palette, we can change it to where those colors are always accessible in this theme. So we'll do that here in a bit. But for now, our copyright font size is great. We click Save Changes. Now, before we do anything else, even before I look at the changes that I just made, I'm gonna zip over here to Appearance, and I'm gonna go to Widgets. So widgets can be used throughout the site, but they're mostly used for the footer and the sidebar. So you'll notice that there's this blog sidebar that has all these widgets already in it. And then there's footer widget 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if I had selected that I only wanted 2 widgets to show up for the footer, I would only have 2 footer widget options here. But as I'm looking here at footer widget 1, I noticed that there's a whole lot of stuff in there. And you might have remembered when we were looking at that footer how long all that content was. Well, we don't need all that in the footer. We usually need just like a logo and possibly a few other things. So I will remove and delete these items just by clicking delete, expand these, delete, expand, delete. So this is where the logo is in there. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that for now. I'm gonna delete this meta, and I'm gonna delete this here. So in my footer widget 2, I'm going to remove that. Now this has an option in here for subscribing to a newsletter using a contact form, but we're gonna delete that for now. We're just cleaning all this stuff up, and this is, once again, stuff that came in here with this preloaded theme, which is great, because sometimes I'm like, what do I want to put here? And I'm like, oh, a newsletter is a great thing to put there. So I know that I want my logo to be in the footer, but I also know that my logo is got some dark font in there. So I'm looking here, and this is my smaller logo. Actually, this is my Retina logo here. And I'm gonna make the whole thing, I'm gonna duplicate it. And because it's gonna be in the footer where it says Golden Gorilla, I'm actually gonna make that white. And so I will just do a quick color overlay. It's gonna be white. And then I just delete the things that I don't want using this magic eraser tool. I love the magic eraser tool. So I'm gonna zoom in on this so you can see. I just click on that, and I'm just erasing the parts of it that I don't want to be white. Now, I've got the secondary logo back here, and I will, because there's a little bit of an outline, I'm just gonna remove that background of the secondary logo behind it so that it's clean and crisp. And I'm just selecting those areas, and when I hit delete, and I make sure that I have selected the logo that's behind this current logo. So now what I've actually done here is I have 2 different pieces of a logo. And so I can merge those 2 things, but before that, I'm going to do an actual new layer so that you can see what's going on here. And we know that this is the background color, the 222 hex color. Oh, let me do select, deselect that. This was my layers panel over here. I'm just dragging this layer behind those 2 layers. And so now I can see that this is what the logo is gonna look like in the footer. Looks pretty good. Now then I just select these 2. By hitting shift, I can select the first one and the second one. And then I can right click on that and I can just say merge visible. Oh, I should have said merge layers. Merging visible is gonna merge everything, and I don't want this background to be there. So I uncheck this little eyeball next to it because that makes that go away. And you can even just delete that background layer. And then I do File, Save As, and I'm just gonna say, it says Golden Gorilla Bakery logo Retina. I'm gonna say footer. And it might still end up being too big, but we're gonna try it at this size and just see what it looks like down there. Let's say save, okay. I keep going to the wrong theme. I'm gonna go replace image, upload files, select files, logos, Gorilla, there's footer. I like to put in here golden, alt text, Golden Gorilla Bakery footer logo. Add to widget, make sure you hit save. So we got our 4 boxes, and we have, this is the first box. Our second box, we're just gonna add a text widget there. And this is content, once again, that if you have a client that's, that you're working with, you can ask them to give you, a testimonial. You can put some blog content here, most recent post, lots of options that you can put here. But if I'm just starting out a site, I might just put a thank you or a welcome statement or something like that. And so I'm just gonna put a welcome statement. Welcome to Golden Gorilla Bakery. We love our customers. We go ape for baked goods. I love a good pun. So that is saved. Now then I will go up here. I've got all these great widgets, and there's some that are for a horizontal menu. If you have a Flickr account and you want to add pictures, if you wanted to add an Instagram feed, you could do that. That's going to be an additional plugin that would have to set up. But for now, I would like to add, there's the contact info. We'll add that to the 4th option. And then here's a Twitter feed, social links, but I'm looking for the blog content. So recent posts, I just drag it over here. The cool thing about these widgets too, I'm gonna put in here recent posts and click save, and then I'll collapse that. But if I'm over here and I select on this gallery, or I select on, let me go up here to this Aveda contact info. When I'm selecting that, I can drop this down. Let me show you that again. This little arrow here, I drop that down and I can tell it where I want it to go. And so since I want that to go to footer widget 4, I click on that and then I click add widget. And so it put it over here in this footer widget 4. And the reason that is important is because sometimes you're over here working and you're scrolling and you've got all these widgets way down here and you've got to drag, and sometimes it's just a pain to drag something up here. It doesn't always go where I want it to go. And so if I can just select on this over here and tell it where to go, that's great. And believe it or not, as you are growing in your business, you'll be surprised at how many of these widgets you can get. You can create custom widgets. Notice up here, there's a place to add a custom widget. We're not gonna get into that today, but this theme is very scalable, very powerful. And as you're going down in your business, or for your own business or somebody else, you might be like, oh, maybe I can add a widget for that. And you probably can. So in my footer widget 4, I've got my contact info. I'm just gonna change this to location, and I'm gonna put Golden Gorilla Bakery. That'll just be easier. Baked at goldengorillabakery.com. It's our email. This email link text, it's gonna actually turn this into just a link. So you can put in here email Golden Gorilla Bakery. And when they see that, they can just click on that link and it'll open up their email. Website URL, they're already on it, so we don't really necessarily need to put that there, anything there. But you might put in, HTTP Golden Gorilla Bakery.com, and then just put contact us today with an exclamation point. And a little call to action down here at the corner. So now that we've got all that set up, we still haven't put anything in this. Oh, we did put something in widget 3, which was recent post. So Right now too, this says recent post number of items to show is 5. Sometimes that can get a little lengthy, and I'm trying to keep a somewhat of a balance down there. So I'm gonna go change that to 3, and I'm gonna click save. And then I'm going to click view here. And I'm gonna scroll down, and fingers crossed it's gonna look good. Look at that. We've got a footer, we've got some social links over here. We'll change up those colors and all that later. But we've got this Golden Gorilla, this welcome. And you'll notice that our headings here are smaller than what I would like them to be, but this content looks pretty decent. I would like a little more padding around this stuff right now, but for the most part, it looks good. And even our logo down here looks pretty fantastic. It's got that nice masculine bakery feel that I want. So our page is starting to come together nicely. Everything's looking good. We've got our header, we've got our body content. We're gonna change out some photos and do a little more styling. We've got our footer done, but we're gonna pick up with all the fine details on this homepage in our next session.